Do you guys tend to mix the teams up to make sure the creative flair is sort of diverse? Is that what you tend to do as an organisation?
Yeah, for sure. And not to pick on the word, but we tend not to use the word creative because we find that it can get in the way. I mean, it's a little bit hierarchical in some companies. We don't have a creative department, we don't have creative directors. There's typically a cross-functional team, strategists, producers, designers, technologists, and recently account managers.
Got it.
And they hug a project from start to finish.
Candace here for 60 years celebrating creativity.
Yeah.
Do you think, you can pick on the word now, but do you think creativity is alive and well? Do you think it's in good hands, or do you think that technology is getting in the way and we're limited by what we're up to because of the expression of technology itself?
Like you can get lost in the semantics of that. It was really interesting for the presentation that we're doing that I'm doing on Saturday. One of the guys who's been with us for a long time, Dave Chow, put together a reel of all our early Flash work.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Lovely.
Flash is where it's at right now. It was amazing, and these guys did some really beautiful work. And we were having a chat. It's like the internet's really fucking hard right now.
Yeah.
You know, back then you could take Flash and have beautiful design and beautiful. You still needed a level of skill, but now there's so many different channels.
Yep.
There's change happening all the time. Do you want to be a fast follower? Do you want to be in there first? Is that to get PR? Is it to learn what's actually going on? So there's just constant decisions that need to happen.
Do you think that, though, with the technology that we do have, are you finding that people are leading through the technology, or are they leading through the idea first?
We're trying to be behaviourally focused, then an insight and idea-led, and then get to the technology. That's where we're at right now, because a lot of digital agencies and agencies in general can just come up with a scattergun approach to some stuff. You would have seen it when augmented reality came along. Whenever some new technology comes along, there's often a presentation with that new technology gratuitously fitted in, but it doesn't necessarily play to any existing behaviour. So very much about behaviour.
Yeah, what's really interesting I'm finding here is that you probably haven't got a chance to see much of the work, but there's an innovation awards that just happened.
Yep.
And what just got awarded was a platform, Cinder.
Yep.
So it's really interesting that an experiential platform is the basis of something that allows creativity to have foundation. What do you think about that as a movement? Is that, you know, technology itself, or platforms are actually programs as such, are actually awarded a creativity award? Do you think that's interesting?
Of course. I mean, creativity is about bringing things that don't belong together in a novel, useful way, right? So why not?
Yeah.
What I do find interesting is the categories and the language that the industry can use sometimes limits. It can run dry a little bit. You know, a lot of the ideas I was really into 5 or 6 years ago, if I would talk about them in an agency, in a large agency, they get called like activation ideas. And we'd often enter them in awards, and they do well in DM, activation, brand. They hit all sorts of different categories. And so I think forcing these things into particular categories is great on one hand, because it's an incentive for change. But on the other hand, they can obviously also get in the way.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of the stuff that is being awarded is more like a brand experience, which thrills me, no doubt, because we've gone away from pure awareness, like advertising does with amplification, into advocacy.
Yep.
So especially around the mobile space, because there's really no homepage anymore there. It's all about making sure somebody's got something that they can use as a utility.
Yep.
Are you seeing more and more of that with the sort of dynamic creative work you guys are up to?
Well, that's exactly where we want to be. There are two types of work that have emerged over the past few years. One is taking marketing budget and trying to do something useful and resilient with it. Yeah. And then often we'll try to create platforms or products with some sort of emotion or story in it as well. And those two things sit together quite well. You need to get the attention, you need to keep it. And the world doesn't need much more disposable stuff. And even with content, you know, with social content, as someone who loves content, there's way too much belief that content can be disposable. And I think we're going to see a little bit more understanding that it's not just about, you know, viral stuff, but it's going to be about stuff that gets attention and then is worth discovering and sharing for hopefully a year or two in the future.
Amen to that, man. I've always good to catch up with a fellow Aussie.
Dude.
Good man. Thanks, Mark.